Yeah, so I started fighting when I was 3 years old. Was training, sorry. My first fight was at 9. So me and my sister are twins, so we used to go together and do lots of tournaments up and down the country. I used to always win the tournament. So we used to be actually, there was actually one time me and my sister, because we're twins, was in the same weight category. We both always used to get in the finals. So we used to have to fight each other, but then we flipped a coin one day and I managed to go up a weight and she went down in weight. So that's how we tried to work it. Then we both had a bit of a break until we were about 13 years old until 15. And my sister stopped completely and I got back into it just for a fitness side. I wasn't so interested in fighting. But of course, my dad was my coach. So just said, oh, I've got a fight for you. Go on, just like old times, let's do it. And the first couple of fights I had as an adult, it's completely different because we obviously had the head contact then. I struggled a lot because obviously I didn't take it as seriously as I should have. I was a teenager, just wanted to do it for fitness, and my dad just kept putting me in for fights. So I lost quite a few in a row. And he just turned to me one day and said, do you want to do it or not? Because I can't see you getting hurt. So I just said, yeah, I want to do it. And that literally just stepped my game up so much. I think just having that chat and saying to myself, actually, I do want this. That completely changed my route, what I wanted to do in Thai boxing. And since then, I've made a career out of it. It actually popped up on my memories this week. I've been signed to one for 4 years now. So, that's the top kind of aim for anyone in the Muay Thai scene. It's the biggest platform. So I'm very grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, so you got signed when you were 19. And I'm guessing you're 24, 23 now, right?
24, yeah.
24. So what was that like, getting that text or that email saying that you got signed to one championship? That's like every single Thai boxer's dream.
Yeah, it was crazy. I wasn't even out looking for it. I'd just got a new manager called Edwin Van Os, and I was actually a care worker for 7 years. So I was sat in my care job and he just kind of texted me saying, how would you feel about fighting on one? I was like, surely not. And I couldn't ring him because I was at work, and I just remember sat there and I started crying. I was like, I can't believe I'm sat in my job. I've been here for like a 12-hour shift, but I'm getting this call. It's just my whole life's going to change. So, and it did.
Did you have, but did you have because obviously as a kid, you have to wear the body armor and you don't go to the head. And you said you took a bit of a break and you came back around the age of 16 to start fighting again. So when you came back, did you start taking the shin pads off, or did you continue to fight without headshots? So when was your transition from amateur to pro?
So I started doing C class when I come back when I was 15. So N class, which is with the shin guards, no knees to the head, no elbows. I was about, I'd say 16, 17 when then I went straight to B class, so knees to the head, no shin guards, and that was a big step up for me because it was on a big show called Infusion. Especially after I just had 4 losses in a row, N class, to then step up and just say, right, fighting on Infusion, it's B class. I think for girl I'd had 35 fights and I'd only had 4 losses as an adult, and all my rest is my junior record. So I just thought, let's just go for it. And since then I've just been fighting without the shin guards. Then I started competing A class with the elbows, which is daunting because each time with the classes it's something new, and you've always got an extra anxiety then to think of, elbows, what if I get cut? But I've had no injuries so far from fighting. Which is very good for a fighter, so we'll see, touch wood. But
so I fought pro kickboxing, just K1 rules. I've never fought Thai boxing. I've always wondered, obviously we train on the pads as well, so we throw elbows, we throw knees and whatnot, but we don't actually ever spar with elbows. So how do you prepare for a fight with elbows? I'm assuming obviously you don't spar with elbows, because if you get caught, then it's detrimental to your career, essentially. So how do you prepare for them?
So no, I used to wear elbow pads when I spar, but to be quite honest, it still hurts when you get knocked with them. And you know, when I've moved up to bad company, we do a lot of just showing the elbows, so you're drilling a lot and you're not actually hitting with them, which obviously you've got to be careful of because everyone could slightly move in and get caught still. But mainly pad work, we just do so much elbows on the pads and getting the steps right for distance. And Richard's really good with holding the pads quite close to him, so it's quite realistic. Like lots of people hold pads too far away in the distance, well off. So we've been doing quite a lot of elbows for this camp. I've never been one to throw too many elbows in the fight, but this camp I am feeling confident in them. So yeah, we'll see.
I've seen so some of your fights. I watched your last one as well. One of the things that really impressed me about your fighting style was the amount of combinations you put together, as well as like your footwork as well. I know the traditional Thai boxers don't really focus on footwork too much, so it's really nice to see this almost like a transition that's happening with Thai boxers, but they're starting to put a lot more footwork in there as well, and it's just a lot more nicer to see, and it's easy on the eye as well. But we'll get to all of that, but let's step back a little bit. So you got a text when you were 19 to get signed to one championship. What was the experience like the first time you start to compete for one championship? Because obviously your next fight, you're fighting on the same card as Superbond, and I'm sure you look up to these people. So what was it like being in a dressing room? You know, now was a massive stage, the highest stage that you could get to as an athlete, as a Muay Thai fighter. What was that experience like?
Yeah, so my first, do you know, to be honest, my first experience on one wasn't all that good because I was so poorly. I'd basically gone out for a fight camp in Thailand beforehand, and for literally day before I was meant to be flying, it was to Vietnam. I got the worst eye infection in both of my eyes, so I couldn't see out of them. I couldn't open them. But my flight, we still got on the flight, got there, and there was just doctors every day coming to visit me. The day of my fight, they booked me a doctor's appointment to see if I could even compete, which was mad. Like, and then, you know, I ended up doing it, but it's just such a shame. If I was in that position now, I'd probably not fight. But because it was a thrill of like, it's my first one, I got to make an impression. I can't pull out. I just done it anyway. But I mean, it's all learning curves. Like if I wasn't feeling like I could fight now, I would just say, you know, postpone the fight. But we'll learn, and it was still an amazing atmosphere. I mean, it just showed how well they will look after their athletes, because they was every day booking doctor's appointments for me. They're checking up on me all the time, getting me eye drops and things. So in that point of view, it's nice to see that you are treated well. Like not many promotions go above and beyond, and the hotels they put you in are amazing. It's like a surreal experience because, like you said, you've just got all these amazing names that you've always watched on telly growing up, inspiring to, and they're just casually sat around you chatting. So that part is amazing too.
Did you have anybody that you met and you almost got like starstruck? You just tried not to fan out. Was there anyone that, do you remember any memories of seeing someone like that, just trying to keep it calm?
Oh, quite a few people. I mean, Rod Tang and Dimitri Johnson. Like, you know, there's just so many big names. I'm looking forward to Regan Arsenal as well and Superbond on the next card. So everyone's just so amazing in their own right. It's so surreal.
And the atmosphere, the pressure that you have to deal with as a 19-year-old. How did you deal with the mental side of things? Because obviously your dad and your mom, with the experience that they have, they must have, you know, been by your side and guiding you through it. But how did you feel in terms of the pressure that you had to deal with?
Yeah, so my dad went with me for my first one. It's always lovely to have a familiar face there. But my dad hadn't actually called in me for a couple of years because there's so much emotion there as me being his daughter. So we was kind of seeing how that went. But it's so good to have an amazing team around you. I think that's the most important thing in a fight camp. My other times I've had other people. This time I'm having Richard Smith. So he was in with me on my last camp as well. And I like having just one voice in the corner, like just one person to listen to. You don't need, lots of people say you need like 3 people in the corner, but if you're all out of sync or someone says different, you just need one person, one goal, one like objective in the ring. So we'll see. I like Richard in my corner because he's calm as well.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the fight, doesn't it? Like when I used to compete, I always wanted someone to just keep me calm a little bit because there's too much chaos that you have to deal with. Anyways, you don't want someone in your face shouting, unless of course you need to wake up in a fight and you're just taking a beating. So you made a move to Bad Company. Was it prior to your previous fight, or was it right after your last fight?
So I've been visiting Bad Company since about maybe 2 years now. Before every fight camp, I would come up and just do a couple of weeks here and there. And each fight camp, I was just leaving myself more time to come up to Bad Company. Whereas in the end, I just thought, do you know what, just move, because down where I am in Cornwall, there's not much opportunity. You know, I don't really like for small town living. So I just thought, just move up to Leeds. You're familiar there. It's the best training for me, especially like with the 4-ounce gloves. There's so many people signed to one in Bad Company. It just makes sense. So yeah, because before, when I was just visiting, I was spending most of my purse on like Airbnbs and travel to get to the gym training. So now I'm living up here, but it's like I'm so settled before I even start training. I'm ticking over with Richard. We don't have to like regel on the pads every time I visit. So yeah.
So what's the typical day looks like for you when you're deep in full camp? So 2-3 weeks out from your fight, for example.
I always have training at 11 in the morning, so that will be with Richard there. We'll do pads, some work in the small gloves. Also, if there's like sparring, I could spar with Finn's a really good person to spar. Finley and Fergus are Richard's sons, and they're both at such a high level. They're perfect training partners for me. Then I'd come home, eat, try and rest, or go for a walk. And then in the evening, again, I help out with the kids' classes, 5:30. And I do for Bad Company classes at 6:30, and we always stay for extra after. But I also, in between them, fit my strength and conditioning in and my boxing. So sometimes I don't normally train the classes on Tuesday and Thursday. So then I'll make sure that I've replaced that class with something else. But also in between, I like to do my own running. I like to go and do sauna sessions. My nutritionist tells me to do heat acclimation, so it's just basically preparing your body for a weight cut and getting used to the heat. So I've managed to do 14 this camp, which is when he says 14 is when your body starts to understand what it's going through, and 14 is when you're set for your weight cut. So I'm happy with the amount done.
I mean, at that level, everything is so intricate, isn't it? You gotta make sure everything is on point. So you said you mentioned you do boxing as well. Do you have a specific boxing coach for that, or do you still train with Richard and do your boxing?
Yeah, so I've got he's called Daryl Kendall. He's from Bad Company as well. Been doing boxing with him. But also I do so much boxing with Richard. Richard mixes it up a lot. So I can go in one day and just do boxing. Some days we just do clinch, some days just Thai. But he kind of can see where each week I need progress in, and then we'll focus on that. But I try and do with boxing 1 or 2 sessions with Daryl a week. It's made a huge difference. I'm so much more confident in my hands now.
Yeah. And the girl that you're fighting next, is it her debut on One Championship?
Yeah, I seen she was meant to fight last year. She was meant to fight in this year Mexon, but it never happened. I can't find out why not. But yeah, she's a good opponent. She's 7 times world champion. She's from Italy, and yeah, it's her debut. So you know, she's gonna be eager to put a stamp on it, and you know, I'm sure it'll be a bit of a war. It's her first time in 4-ounce gloves, which is an advantage for me. But yeah, I think we're both just looking forward to it to get done now. We've both had a 12-week notice on our camp, so it's been a long time.
Long, stressful 12 weeks.
Yeah.
You used to find was it 10-ounce gloves that you used when you were fighting Muay Thai? Was it 12 that you were using?
I used to find 8s.
Obviously because of straw weight, isn't it? So what was it? Because I basically done MMA for like about 4 years, going in and out of gym when I moved to Manchester, and when I first started sparring with even the 4 ounce amateur style MMA gloves, not the actual pro one. Every time I got punched in my face, it was a different type of pain. It felt like you could really feel the knuckle, and it stings a little bit. It takes a little bit of getting used to, sparring with it, and getting used to getting hit in the face before you.
Yeah.
A little bit differently from just getting hit with the normal boxing gloves. What was it like sparring with 4 ounce gloves and fighting with 4 ounce gloves?
For my first fight, I probably didn't do as much in the 4 ounce gloves as I should have for one against Diandra. But with Jackie, I was doing lots of sparring, we do lots of just play sparring, just getting the distance right. I keep on scratching myself, as you can see. I got here, so it's the guards, because you have your guards here, when you've got to suddenly close it as you're coming through. So I keep cutting my face up, but it is just a thing you get used to. And in the fight, obviously, it's going to hurt, but the adrenaline will take you through. But it's so, for distance on your shots, you have to be so precise.
Do you have a preference, or do you not care?
I do prefer the little gloves for, you have to pick your shots. I feel like it's a bit of a cleaner fight, but in the sense, I would like to go back to 8 ounce just to have a bit of a scrap.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as easy to get through the guard as well, right?
Yeah, it hurts a lot less.
Yeah. So you said that your opponent is a 7-time. I think I read online that she was 5 times ISK world champion as well, which is impressive stuff. How do you feel in terms of your confidence and your mental state of mind for this fight?
I feel the best I've been for any fight. Obviously, I've moved my life up to Leeds for camps, and this one I've just had such a big head start. I've been taken over since February. Obviously, I had for 12-week notice on the camp, so in my head, I've done everything right. I've never had a camp where I've done boxing, strength. This long on my nutrition plan. I've been in the gym so consistent. So, I really can't see her training harder than me. I've ticked every box for this one.
Yeah. So all ready to go. We're all looking forward to it. I think everybody in the UK is going to be rooting for you, and I'm super excited to watch it. So have you obviously you've said you train in Thailand. So have you fought in the Lumpinee before? Is this going to be your first time?
This will be my first time. I used to visit Lumpinee as a child and watch fights. But yeah, I mean, they've not long started letting women fight in Lumpinee, so that's just another privilege on its own. But I feel like this will be an amazing atmosphere to be in. Like, Muay Thai in Thailand is like, I've never had a fight in Thailand, so this is like a big tick on my bucket list.
Yeah, and I read, and I think I heard in the interview that you were the first British female fighter to get signed to one championship. Do you feel any sort of pressure just based on that fact? Did you feel any pressure? I should rephrase, when you first got signed, knowing that you're a female, or was there any challenges that you faced as a female fighter at the age of 19, which is just crazy to me?
Yeah, I mean, I've been quite lucky not to have any big challenges. I mean, the sport's evolved a lot, so especially on the competing on one, everything's so fair. Either fights are fair, for weigh-ins are fair. So, not like on other promotions I've been on before, like when your opponent weighs in like 3 kilo heavy, everything's like hushed to the side. No one kind of hears that side. But whereas on one, if that happens, they really obviously you get fined some of your purse, and it's out on media and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it was a bit of pressure, but I was 19, so I just kind of went with it. I mean, I try not to dwell on stuff. Obviously, I get nervous fighting anyway. So after, it was more so I got nervous for when I first went in 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah.
First fight on one, I was kind of like, that's another fight. I do better on away shows than I do on home shows. So that's what I just kept thinking.
And do you have any sort of rituals that you do before your fight, just to get yourself in a state of mind? I did watch one of the interviews, and you said you have a good cry before your fight.
Yeah, do you know what? I didn't on my last one. That was my first fight. I just went in. Richard just looked at me and said, "Right, you ready?" Yeah, I actually am. Like, I shocked myself. I was like, I mean, my legs go a bit numb. I always like give my legs a bit of a whack before I walk out. But other than that, I think anyone who knows me knows I'm pretty like chilled and just go with things. So I just, I'm not the typical put music on or like shout or whatever. I just sit there, people watch, like, oh, ready to warm up? Yep, let's go. Just yeah, I just try and not. I feel like with me, I'm an overthinker, so I just try and take everything as it comes. I don't want to dwell on things and just go with it.
Yeah, and you said that you coach as well. Is this something that you've started doing recently, or have you always been involved in coaching?
Yeah, I've been coaching for years. I actually ran the gym back home in Cornwall. My dad let me take over when I was 18. So I've just recently, as I've moved, passed it back to my dad. But then I was teaching the classes, doing PTs. Now I'm up in bad company. I mean, I cover some classes and I'm starting to build my PT clients up. So I'm definitely going to get back to that when I'm back from Thailand. I've started doing seminars as well. So they're really fun. I like doing seminars.
How many have you done so far?
I've done 4 or 5, I think. So I've done a couple in Germany. I've done one in Bristol, and they said they want me back regularly. So I've got one booked for July. I think Germany want me back. So it's nice to revisit for ones I've already done and watch how they've actually used what I've taught them last time in their training. So yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to make a visit to Sheffield because obviously we would want you to come and do it for us as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I've started the gym 3 years ago, so I'm quite new as an official coach, but I've been coaching for quite some time. So I have a bunch of young guys, and we have like women only classes that we do as well. And when I said to them that I'm interviewing Amber, they were all super excited about it. So I think at some point we will have to get you in as well to show us some of your techniques that we don't know. So it'll be incredible. So it sounds like, obviously to me, you're still young and you have your whole life ahead of you in terms of just your life and your fighting career and whatnot. Is there an ultimate goal in your head with where you want to be or where you want to achieve, not just with one championship, but just as a martial artist as a whole?
I definitely want to get for one belt. That would be an amazing experience. But I mean, just keep active. Like, I've had way too much time off due to COVID, or I've been signed to one for 4 years and I've only had 3 fights with them. So I really feel like I just want to, no matter who it is, what it is, what title or anything, I just want to fight. And I see the bigger picture as my journey goes, but to get as many titles as I can and put a bit of a stamp on the female UK Muay Thai scene. It would be nice to fight back in the UK as well, but I need to have a look at my contract. But there's definitely a few names I'd like to fight in the UK because I get back on the rankings as well. So just mainly bigger picture, just to keep active and keep improving as a fighter. This is why I've moved up to Leeds, to learn a whole new style and adapt it with the one I've had. So just to evolve as a fighter.
Well, that was a great segue to my next question. Is there any like dream matchups that you have, any girl that you really want to compete with? And not necessarily that you don't like or anything like that, but someone that you see as a challenge.
Well, I would love to have a rematch with Jackie Bunton. We've both had a win over each other now. So that would be my dream fight right now. But yeah, I mean, there's a few in the UK who have names that have come up. I know I was due to fight Hannah Turner. I'd like to fight her as it was set up, but I did pull out because my granddad unfortunately died just before I was due to fight her. So I feel like I owe that to her. There's a girl called Molly from Nosey. She's a good matchup as well. She's fought Hannah Turner recently. So yeah, just there's a big group of girls in the UK. The weight category seems to be big. So just anyone, yeah.
Am I mixing up Hannah's? But is Hannah Turner from Bad Company as well? Or am I mixing them up?
No, Hannah Turner's from. Oh, I don't. I want to say Exeter, but I don't think she is. Though she's not.
I think I'm mixing up with Orlando.
Maybe.
Yeah. So your contract with One Championship, obviously you can't talk too much about it. But you would want at some point to come back to the UK and fight. And if that doesn't happen, hopefully these girls that you want to fight will get signed to One Championship, and you could put title on the line as well, which would be good. Is there any well apart from getting signed to One Championship, what do you think your biggest achievement is to date?
My biggest achievement. Do you know what? This is going to sound really like cringy and not even that big for people, but literally moving up to Leeds has been a huge thing for me because I've been wanting to get out of my hometown for a long time. So sorry, my housemate's just coming back. I've just seen. Yeah, so I've been wanting to get out of my hometown for a long time, and just changing my lifestyle to come up here has been a bit of a godsend.
Do you feel like you're a lot more focused now that you're in bad company full time and you're taking it a lot? Obviously, you're always took it serious when you're signed to One Championship. You have to take it serious. But do you feel your game have stepped up? Have you had a chance to? Because I know Liam was injured. Have you had a chance to train with Liam Harrison and all these incredible killers in Leeds? Do you feel like your game has stepped up to another level now?
Yeah, it definitely has, and I've got no distractions up here, and like I said, but my whole routine for training is completely different. Back home, as a lot of times I was just training myself, and my dad helped me where he can, but no one was doing A class at home. So, just to be around so many people who understand A class, can spar with me, different aspects of that. Sorry, my phone's going off. I'm meant to meet Joe Craven for a sauna in 15 minutes.
Okay, well, we'll make it quick. Let me know when you. We'll just wrap it up whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward. I'm gonna ask you a bunch of quick rapid fire questions. How about that?
Yeah.
So we can. There you go. Because I think this will be fun. Just to close it all. So okay, we'll go through it. A celebrity you like to punch in the face. I feel like you're too nice. You don't want to punch anybody.
I didn't know. That's a bit controversial for right now.
Okay. A celebrity you're going you'll go to dinner with.
Beyonce.
No, okay. Queen Bee. Okay, I get that. I would go to dinner with her. Favorite athlete of all time.
I would say, do you know, not even being biased, but Liam Harrison, because he's just entertaining, isn't he? Like personality wise as well as his performances.
I mean, that's a very good choice. Favorite animal.
I like whales. I could watch whale things all the time.
That's a wild card choice.
That's a weird one, yeah.
What about favorite food?
Anything sweet. I've actually got a list of things I want after my fight, and it's just massive. But like, favorite food, like my favorite dessert is apple crumble and custard.
Okay, that's a good choice too.
Yeah.
Okay, what about kicking or punching or elbows? If you had to pick one.
Kicking.
Okay.
Kicking, yeah.
Favorite movie of all time?
Snatch. I like watching Snatch. That's a classic. Every sentence is a one-liner.
Yeah. Okay, just last two from me. So, favorite sport outside of Thai boxing, but you can't name any other combat sport because I'll just.
Yeah. Do you know, I actually like watching gymnastics. Like whenever it's Olympics, I sit and watch gymnastics. It's an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, I always get puzzled by how they could do what they do. It's incredible. What a human body. Yeah, last one from me. This is going to sound very generic, and but I feel like I want to ask it because it's interesting. Is there any advice that you would give to any young fighters or young female athletes in particular, trying to get to the place that you gain into? Because obviously you're only 24, but I feel like you've had a lot of experience training at the age of 3. So is there any advice or any pointers or anything that you would give anybody that's trying to get to the level that you're at?
Yeah, stay consistent, and when you're in the gym, give it 100%. And I used to just go to the gym and just go through promotions, and that's when I wasn't winning and I wasn't staying consistent all the time. So you're going in, time you warm up is 45 minutes. Just go and give it as 100% every session, and you'll come away buzzing. You're not going to come away thinking, oh, I've wasted an hour. Everything you do in life, just as you're doing it, just why not just give it 100% everything you do.
That's a great advice. I'm gonna let you go, Amber. I know you're in a rush, but thank you so much. We're all rooting for you, and good luck. We're gonna be tuning in.
Cool.
Have a
Thank
great
you very much.